All right, Sunday, June 22nd, 10:04 a.m. PT. It is the day of Game 7 of the finals, and unfortunately, just like I fucking knew was gonna happen, I knew this was gonna happen before I could make the video I had planned about it. The Kevin Durant trade has occurred. Kevin Durant traded from Phoenix to Houston. Houston is sending Phoenix Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the 10th pick in this draft, and 5 second-round picks for Kevin Durant. An interesting return. There's already reports from somebody. I don't remember who it was now that I think about it. I think it was Shams, but it might have been Mark Stein. That Houston was already working on rerouting Jalen, or excuse me, Phoenix was working on rerouting Jalen Green and trying to flip that for more assets, I assume. The only first round pick in this draft in this trade is the one in this draft, the 10th pick, and then a bunch of second round picks. And Houston, with or without Durant, is going to continue to be pretty good, going forward. And so you're getting late second round picks from Houston for Durant. I think this trade really speaks to what the value of Durant is at this point, at like 37 years old, going into a contract year. What's really the value of Kevin Durant? And it's apparently a bunch of second round picks and Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. Um, yeah, it kind of fucked me. I had an entire idea. I was gonna go on the trade machine. I was gonna do trades to Detroit, to Houston, Miami. I was gonna just make a bunch of fake trades and I was gonna put them all up and see what everybody thought the best ones were. But now he's going to Houston, and for basically nothing. The 10th pick isn't nothing, but we already knew they were going to trade Jalen Green at some point this offseason anyways. He was gone. Dylan Brooks, it feels like this is kind of going to be the Dylan Brooks cycle of his career. He's going to be on a team for 3 or 4 years and get traded. And everyone's going to be like, oh my God, why'd they trade Dylan Brooks? I can't believe they traded Dylan Brooks. But it's just going to keep happening. And every time somebody trades it for him, they're going to be like, we love this guy. He sets the culture. He builds. He's our guy. And then they're gonna trade him 3 years later because they realize he's fucking annoying and he can't shoot and he's not actually that good. And but I will say, putting him next to Booker and whatever you get left out of Bradley Beal, Phoenix has to try and win this next. They have to try and win this next year because they don't have their picks. Because they sent them, I believe their pick next year now belongs to, who does it belong? It belongs to Memphis now as a part of the Desmond Bain trade. I don't know how Orlando got their hands on that pick, but Orlando found a way to get that pick, and they sent it to Memphis in the Desmond Bain trade. So they they have to try, they have to compete, and getting Dylan Brooks next to Devin Booker, I like that. We'll see what they get for Jalen Green and the 10th pick. This is supposed to be a good draft. That's what draft people are saying, that this is a good draft. Usually what that means to me is that they think a draft is a good draft only if there's stars and superstars available. That doesn't always mean it's a deep draft. So I don't know if there's going to still be players on the board at 10 that teams really like. Obviously every year there's sleepers that gets picked at the late lottery or out of the lottery or you know end of the first round that become really good players. So I'm not saying it's impossible they do something with this pick, but it feels like that's the prize of this trade is the 10th pick, and then they're gonna hope they can reroute Jalen Green and get something good out of him as well. basketball wise for Houston, we all watched their playoff series against Golden State, and going into that series, I think we all kind of thought Houston's good, their defense is good, but they can't score in half court. They're not offensively skilled enough. They don't have enough players on that side of the ball. And then when we watched the series, it was a Şengün post up or pretty much nothing, except for there was like 3 games in there where Van Vliet got hot. And other than that, it was pretty much just nothing on that offense. Jalen Green gave them nothing. My biggest concern with this deal is that the whole time during the Durant, ever since the trade deadline, where he pretty much got traded to Golden State and then said, no, fuck you, I'm not going. And then Houston said, all right, well then we're not doing the trade. Or Golden State said, we're not doing the trade. Is that I've been worried about Durant going to a team where he's the best player. And I think that's what happened. And I don't think that's a good sign. I don't think that's a recipe for success. I don't think you can win significant basketball with Durant as your best player right now. The teams that I liked the fit for him the most were Detroit, where Cade could be the best player. Minnesota, where Ant Edwards would be the best player. The Miami thing was always dumb to me, but it's Miami. They kind of just always do that. And apparently, Sham says that Phoenix was down to the last 2 deals, which was one from Miami, one from Houston. They take the Houston deal. And yeah, I don't know if this is the best spot for Houston to put themselves in. They didn't, like I said, they didn't give up much. It's not like they mortgaged their future. They've still got a lot of young players. They've still got Cam Whitmore and Jabari Smith and Atari Eason and these guys. Plus, they obviously still have Amin Thompson. They didn't mortgage their future for Kevin Durant, which is good. But it is concerning to me if their goal is to try to win a championship that Durant is going to be their best player. Because I'm not going to lie, I don't believe in Şengün. I just don't. I don't think he's that good. People call him Baby Jokic. I never saw that other than the fact that he's an Eastern European center who passes the ball. That's as close as it's ever gotten to me to seeing Jokic in him. I never believed in him to be that good. He's not as good of a jump shooter. He's damn sure not as patient. And I don't think he can be the best player on a championship team. I don't think Durant can be the best player on a championship team anymore. And it's a weird spot to be in for Houston. For Phoenix, I kind of went over a little. They need to compete. They need to try and win. They couldn't go after a haul of first round picks, and even if they could go after a haul of first round picks, it's not like that would have been a lot in the Durant. You probably would have got, if you didn't get the 10th pick this year, you probably could have got like 2 future first round picks. I don't know many teams out there that would have gone beyond 2 to get Durant at this point, considering all of the scenarios that ever since he left OKC, he's been like, well, you got 3 or 4 years, or 2.5 years, and then he's going to probably want out, or you're probably going to want to get rid of him. And so, and he's way fucking older now, too. It's not like you're getting prime Kevin Durant. You're getting 37-year-old Kevin Durant on a contract year. And there's this lingering idea, and I don't know if it's just because I want the Sonics back and because I think it would be a fun story, but there's this lingering idea that's been around for a while now that Durant wants to be a part of the Sonics in expansion. And whether that means as a player or if that means he's going to retire and be a part of the ownership group. He's talked about that a lot for a long time. And expansion feels like it's as close as it's ever been. It doesn't feel inevitable, but it feels like if it's going to happen anytime soon, it's going to happen you know, probably the process would probably start this summer. They're going to talk about it extensively at league meetings. And I think teams might be thinking about that. They might be in the back of their head concerned about that in a Kevin Durant trade of, well, we only got him for a year, so he could up and leave and go retire, or he could sign a 1+1 or whatever, however long it takes until Seattle gets the team and then go there. I don't think that's realistic. I think that's a scenario fans in Seattle have pretty much made up in our heads. I don't think it's going to happen, but it might, and it's something teams would have to think about when they're trying to acquire Kevin Durant, and that's why I think the price was so low, is that there's so many different factors when you acquire a Kevin Durant player. He's not the same player that he was. He's on the verge of retirement. His best years are behind him. He's far closer to being done than he is to starting. He's moody. He always wants to fucking leave. And is he good enough to be the best player on your team and for you to really compete for a championship? Houston is uniquely set up. I do love their coach. I think Udoka is a top 3 coach in the NBA right now. I'd say at least top 5, like at the bare minimum, you'd put him as probably top 5 for me. They do have a talented roster. I do think Şengün is good. I know I shit on him for like 2 minutes earlier, but I do think he's a good player. I do think he's like an all-star caliber player. And I still like Jabari. I think there's still something there that they haven't been able to tap into. I don't think they know how to use him. They kind of use him as like stand in the corner guy, and I think he can do a lot more than that. I think you put the ball in his hands, let him try to create. Defensively, he's obviously got a lot of potential and versatility there with his length and his athleticism. And if anybody's going to get that out of him, it's probably Udoka. Um, so it's an interesting move. It's definitely going to make Houston a lot better. They were the 2 seed last year. Does this jump them to the number 1 seed? I don't think so. Does this drop them? I think it a realistic season expectation for Houston next year is they just need to make the playoffs without being in the play-in. And I think that's fine because the West is so close and the West was such a dogfight all year long that they could have been the 2 seed this year, they could have been the 6 seed this year, and but because they won like a game or 2 more than whoever was in 6th, it feels like such a drastic difference. It really wasn't. They just have to keep themselves in that top 6 range. And obviously, I think if they had Durant, they would have beaten Golden State this year. I don't think that's in question. They almost did it anyways. They did get Steven Adams extended probably like a week ago now. On I think it was like 4 years, 40 million, something in that range. Like 10 million bucks a year. So I thought that was a good deal for them. I think he fits them very well. The Durant Steven Adams reunion. Durant has reunited with fucking almost everybody, it feels like, from that OKC run. He played with Harden again. He's now playing with Steven Adams again. He played with Andre Roberson again in Brooklyn, which nobody remembers because Andre Roberson played like maybe 25 seconds. He played like maybe 25 seconds. But that's the trade for Durant. That's the value for Durant at this point in his career. I think that's a fair trade. I don't think anybody fleeced anybody. I think Durant is just he's not as valuable of an asset. He's still a really good player. He's still a great player. He's still top 20 in the NBA. But as an asset, sometimes as much as it sucks to say, we can't look at these players as players and what they do on the floor. We have to look at them as assets. And we have to think about all of the factors that come into play when considering an asset. And there's a lot of factors with Durant. Injuries, age, often unhappy in new teams, often on new teams. There's a lot to consider, and considering everything, I don't think Houston gave up too much. I don't think Houston gave up too little. I don't think the Suns got fucked in this trade. I just think this was a fair market value deal for Kevin Durant in 2025. So that's that. Um, Game 7 tonight. I barely fucking slept last night. I kept having dreams about the game. I had a dream where we were winning. I had a dream where we were losing. I had a dream where it was tied with like 2 minutes left. I'm so nervous. I'm so scared. I fucking drank last night too, so that did not help my sleep. Um, and yeah, I have to work from 3 to 7, a 4-hour shift. They're just wasting my fucking time, making me miss a part of Game 7. But it'll be on in my headphones. I'll be listening, and I'll be watching. And I'll be home for the end of it, and I'll be home to hopefully celebrate a championship. And if we lose, I will be inconsolable. I will probably break something, maybe my own hand, maybe my phone, maybe we'll see. I'll I'll scope the area to see what I can break. That's not too expensive. Um, but hopefully I don't have to worry about that. Hopefully we win the game, and hopefully it's tears of joy instead of tears of pure and utter defeat. But who knows? There's only one way to find out, and that's to wait. What is that? I'm not good at math. Probably like 8, 9 more hours until we can find out what's going to happen. So I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. If we lose, I might not be back tomorrow. Might might wait. Um, I might need time to process what happened, but I'm also going to need time to watch the full game because, like I said, I'm not going to be able to watch it all in real time. But yeah, that's the deal. That's the Durant trade. Game 7 tonight. It's a big day in NBA history. And yeah, thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button. Shout out to the Noti gang. And I'll talk to you guys soon.